don't need to know all this to communicate well. But that's why there's no money attached to this field or prestige. You're not going to go to work at, to be a doctor or a lawyer using this. That's why you skipped over all of that, like I did in high school. You said etymology, forget about it. Who wants to know all that old Greek shit? And you just skipped it, right? Because they're not testing you on that.
Please and thank you, please, host.
What's up, business?
What do you think, business? You think Anup is
and then we're Sanskrit's related to the ancient Iranian Avestan languages.
Correct.
And then basically these people, and it's a good thing for our pride. All of our shit filtered all the way into English. 30% of the shit's in Indian root. Now, I didn't believe it at first. That I thought he's a fucking crazy guy to say Indian goes in, this Indic culture, Indo-European goes into Greek and Roman and then comes across into English. I thought it's like a Weaver King's fucking coat. But it's all there.
It probably is.
There are the words.
If you read the Rig Veda, right, it talks about having Indra having blonde hair.
Exactly. No, he goes through the exact thing with the pantheon of gods. Okay, I thought it was a bunch of different gods, but yeah, exactly what you're saying, business. And then, but the proof is in the words itself. Have the same root words for the different actions. So, and this is not Anup discovered it. It's already known shit. This fellow's just trying to map this stuff. And
okay, Nazis. Hold on. Before your low IQ conversation comes up, the Nazis were sending guys into Tibet. Before your low IQ comments or derail the comments, the Nazis. Hold on, just let me have my stick. Your low IQ shit.
Fine business.
The Nazis were sending guys into Tibet. The Nazis were sending guys into Tibet to go and kind of rehash that. If you actually look at Adolf Hitler, he said that fucking Persians are honorary Aryans and they're exempt from the laws, these kind of laws. You actually go look at it themselves. They sent a bunch of these guys, the Indiana Jones, right? They're sending all these guys all over India. They're sending these guys all over Tibet because they're trying to learn this old stuff. You can even see the swastikas, right? They have swastikas in Europe.
You're not making any sense. Business. Look, here's the thing, right?
Okay, go ahead.
Hang on. I'm just going to ask a question. Morale, here's the thing, right? Okay. So I guess what he's trying to say here, based on what he just said, which was really good in my opinion. That summarization was the best. I wish he could speak like you. That's point number one. Point number two is, if he's saying we are all have common ancestry, or we are somehow or the other, we are all interconnected. I think that's the gist I got out of all this. And throughout, and there's some kind of history behind this. And he's trying to connect all the dots with, and he's using linguistic as a tool to connect all the dots from the origin to what we are right now, okay? That's what I got out of him.
No, he's actually not interested in that stuff too much, because Razib, all these guys on Clubhouse are interested in that angle. Exactly who went where. He's not too concerned on that. Remember,
I think so. I think that's the point he's trying to make.
He's not.
So why does he always delve into like, what are the building blocks of the word? And if the building blocks of the word, dhatu, right? And what is the origin? Or he always goes back to
you're going back to who is the racial origin of the Indians.
I didn't say that. I didn't use the word. I didn't use the word racial. I didn't use the word racial. You use it right now. Like
from Iran. Did people come through Iran and come in?
No, I didn't even say that.
But that's the Rajiv Malhotra interest right now. All the Hindutva, right?
No, you were projecting right now. Come on. I didn't even use any of the.
But you're interested in that. He's not interested in that much.
I'm not interested in that. I think that's exactly what he's trying to say. Is like, okay, we are all one. We all came from the same root. And this is something Indo-European, and everything originated from one thing and one thing only, and that's what it sounds like. That's the subtext of even what you said. If I have to record you and rerun what you just said, I guarantee you, most of the people
does
will
not
say the same
we
thing.
all have the same root. You were not listening properly. He's talked about Afro, this one, Afro-Semitic, which is that group. And the Chinese and Asians is a whole different group. So it's not one group.
But then you also say the origin of.
That's what Indo-European is. Indo-European is a group of languages.
No, but then he also said everything originated from Sanskrit.
No, he said the language of the eternal gods is Sanskrit, but you stuck him with the question. So he was answering you for the question that was asked. Remember?
Yeah, but the problem is that when you try to instill language from nomadic people, such as the Aryans, you have fucking problems because they're nomadic by nature. So that means they picked up languages here, they picked up languages there, they picked up stuff to where they stayed. Everywhere where they stayed was temporary until they got into the Indus Valley. So that's the problem, right? When you have nomadic peoples, or that they pick up a little bit here, a little bit there. It's like a pizza, right? You get a little topping of everything, right, to make one whole pie. And that's the issue. He's trying to
understand all what I knew.
Anoop is trying to say it all comes from one singular source, and just by the nature of nomadic culture, that's not the case.
Yeah, I really don't even think
an
he
origin.
makes the. I've never heard him make the point really too hard. I mean,
Glances over it though, here and there.
nomadic people, a lot of the Hindutva guys do on the out of India hypothesis, but
It's a cult. It's a cult, I know.
they don't say more like this is more just the language is shared. It's not taking ownership of who went where first in any way.
Yeah, the Hindutva guys, they're kind of crybabies. They just willfully, some guys that we know, they willfully just kind of throw away everything in the Vedas itself that they said openly, like how these guys look like, how they talk about their own gods. They're not talking about the new guys. It's like crybaby.
Luckiest guy in the world.
I mean, you go read the Rig Veda, and they have descriptions of how these guys look like. We're talking about red, fair skin. We all know what the meaning of fair is. Everyone here knows what that means. Yeah, she's a fair-skinned girl. She's a fair person.
Indra.
Exactly.
Look, well, my conclusion out of all this is that there was probably, it's possible there was a single source, but that actually is split into multiple sources, and that's how different cultures actually developed. Egyptian culture versus the South American culture versus the European culture, and all these different cultures, right? But there was probably one.
It's really good. You're probably
hang on.
You're probably
Yeah, and then
arguing against your thesis. I mean,
and then
Lupa argues against that.
right, and then different words, different
I'd
languages
love to go to
developed
Argentina
through
too.
multiple sources. That's why you have Spanish, Chinese, this and that, the
let's
Mandarin.
go for
There's so
this.
many different languages. Even in India, we live in the same region. Okay, we have, I don't know, maybe Storm can say this. I don't know how many languages we have, over 100 maybe. So in spite of living so close together, okay. So I guess that was my only conclusion. But I will say this for a fact. I think he agreed Sanskrit is the eternal God's language. And for me, the only takeaway is everything originated from Sanskrit. She's the mother of all languages. That's it. That's the only thing I can think of. I don't need to spend hours studying this thesis versus that thesis. Blah, 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 blah. Yeah. Come on, man. I told you do that. I gotta take pictures, man. I can't be like spending time like.
There's people who spent their whole career with comparative linguistics. It does give an idea of the shared ancestry or comparative religion. Comparative linguistics is interesting stuff. I mean, now I never was into the etymology and the root words. I thought it was a little bit they're pulling it out of their ass.
They are sometimes.
But this guy's really sharp at this part of it. And he understands the roots from many different languages.
Come on, using the word
He's done nothing but this for several years.
Crooker Hillary into his fucking thesis? Are you fucking kidding me?
Here's the thing, Morale. People don't understand is that the word is for convenience. You just use a word It doesn't have to mean Norse.
That's where
You just use the word.
you're wrong on this business. This was my first instinct also, but it's absolutely not the case. Once I looked into this a little deeper. Now I've not just been had the wool pulled over my eyes by a nope. I independently find on this.
I hope not.
No. The roots of these words are action senses, and they are basically what you're. They're not pulled out of thin air. They're.
But you're not actually able to make a case yet.
They're a base.
Yeah.
It's a. In the same language group, the roots are all mean the same thing. The roots of they can be flipped around or moved around a little bit, but they're again, it's not a noob's work. They've done it a long time before this.
The root of all the word is Om. Basically, the symbol, and then you can have subroots. In my opinion, I don't even need to read a Rig Veda or anything. I can literally say it from my own experience. Walk through life enough to know this shit. So, look, you're not able to make a good case right now.
We went through this stuff 1,000 years ago, man. Over 1,000. This Panini came out with all of these rules of linguistics in India a long time ago, and it's not just like rules to make up words. It's describing all the roots. So this is done a long time ago. Anup just happened to read all that shit, which no one's interested in anymore. So he's chosen an area that no one's interested in to specialize, and I think, I think this guy's the real deal when it comes down to this.
Yeah, he's the real deal into this kind of niche subset of linguistics, right?
Yeah.
At the end of the day, it's reality.
There's no money to be made. It's not sexy.
It's a passion project.
Yeah, it's not really. It's hard to say it's not useful, because if any rapper or anybody who makes a new word, or a joker, or a comedian, a politician, basically anybody who's fluidly communicating, you're pulling these words. It seems like you're pulling them out of the air, but they're coming back from action roots. It is interesting. I mean, how practical it is. Yeah, it's not that practical, but I think it can give us a real pride of mastering English. There's a reason we excel at English from our cultures, is because it's already inborn, all the roots. So we can jump in and just really excel. Whereas you look at the Chinese, look at Manju. He's from a top astronomy program. This fucker is a rocket scientist. He's as smart as they get from China. Look at how he speaks English.
And we're talking about Daniel, right?
No, he's another one. I was talking about Manju.
Oh, Manju. Yeah. I know what you're talking about. Okay,
take Daniel. It's difficult.
It's difficult for him. Completely foreign. And he's been living in Western countries for a good 10 years, right? Either he's lazy or he's stupid. One of the two, or he just can't get a grasp. It's not there for him. The set, right?
Manju went to top astronomy.
Rocket science, whatever they call that.
Astrology, astronomy, man.
Yeah, he's a rocket scientist. He's a rocket scientist.
Smart guy. He's a smart guy, though, right? The smart guy. I know what you're talking.
Mm-hmm.
Dude, if he's smart, I'm genius.
Fuck, dude, just because they're an enemy, you can't think they're dumb. That's a big problem. Even when you know their back history, the guy's high IQ. You can disagree with everything he says. He's dumb is childish, my man. With either Anup or Manju or anybody.
Yeah, Manju and Anup are in the same basket.
Yeah, taught us here. I think he'll agree that on the verdict on Anup with you. But again, when you can't see what a guy's doing, or Anup is he fights with people on here. He doesn't.
Anup doesn't like to be wrong, even though he is wrong a lot of the times.
Yeah.
That's the problem with him.
Exactly. It is what it is.
I'm like Anup. I actually take advice and improve. So
yeah.
Well, people can be smart and evil at the same time, right? You do understand, right? Our intelligence has got many dimensions, right? Some people will succumb to their own so-called desire, right, to do bad things. And a lot of serial killers are smart, but they're not so smart that they can conquer the world, right? So that means someone either succumb to the desire or they have a particular point of view. Yeah, I mean they can like solve a lot of IQ problems, but they're going in the wrong direction in their life.
Yep. Yeah, that's actually really insightful because
I would take it a step further, Vincent. I think the higher IQ people are, the worse they are as a person.
Correct.
I think that's pretty insightful because
the highest IQ people are so autistic. They're bad people. They can't communicate properly, and they can't function efficiently in a real world way, such as a husband, a wife, a father, or a friend. So IQ is good, and when it gets pretty high, it puts you on an island. And so this is why most cultures think that the humble people are the salt of the earth, or the God's people, or the humble people, regular people, low IQ like Jay.
You know what's so funny too? It's like, if you notice, most of these kind of famous kind of intellectuals, they've all come from broken families or broken their families themselves. Divorced, family, mom is not there. Take a look at the backgrounds of some of these famous, the Einsteins of the world. These all come from broken families. Do you guys think it's just a coincidence? No, they don't know how to have. They don't know how to construct themselves.
High IQ does not mean.
Can I respond, please?
No, 1 second.
Go ahead, from Rahul.
High IQ.
It's a relationship.
High IQ does not mean good, Tota.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. What Vincent said was very interesting. Like, intelligence is a virtue, but just because you're intelligent doesn't make you a good person. Also, like, to respond to that, like, for example,
intelligence is not a virtue. Hold on.
it's a virtue in many cultures. What do you mean?
Hold the horses. You can't change your intelligence, motherfucker. You're born with it. Intelligence is not a virtue. It's an inborn skill. You don't choose to be lower intelligence or higher intelligence. You think you can choose to increase your intelligence today?
You can modify your IQ points, plus or minus 10, I think.
Yeah, it's very little.
I think with diet, for example, a lot of that's why they installed those school programs in the West for feeding the kids. Kids who are usually hungry or nutrition deficient, they just become dumber. I do think, yeah, there is a nature nurture argument for IQ. I do think, like as Tota said, there is some arguments. Like I admit, I was an idiot when I was school when it came to mathematics, and then after that, I got a couple hits upside the head in some tutoring classes, and I was fucking doing proper. I don't know, man. Maybe it's just inherent something in me.
So I think you're born with IQ, and throughout your life, you can modify it through a distribution, right?
Very little.
If you're like,
very
little, but still,
you can get raised better and get nurtured, but
it becomes more and more unlikely. Like, it's very steep, you know. Like, it's a very steep distribution, but with like Herculean effort, you could move it significantly. It's just very unlikely. The point I was going to make is, for example, you talk about broken families. Like, I will probably destroy my parents if they get in the way of my wife.
Rahul, what do you think are some other virtues?
You're proving the point, Tota. You're just proving the point.
Because you have to do that, dude. If you're limited by your parents,
hey, Rahul, listen here.
They're holding you back. You need to do that. That's the only logical thing to do.
Rahul, listen here. Name some other virtues. Name one or two other virtues.
I don't know, strength, like physical strength.
That's another thing that's inborn. These are not virtues, my man.
Dude, I don't go to the gym. I look like a scrawny person. If I spend 8 months at the gym, I'll look like a buff dude.
Actual virtue that people care about in the world.
Physical strength.
I think that's questionable.
Every VP I've had has been a buff guy. That's not coincidence.
Okay. When you wake up today, you think you can choose to be strong?
A lot of the VPs have.
Oh my God! I'm talking about muscle mass by strength. I'm not talking about innate strength.
So you think strength and IQ are virtues in your world?
Not IQ. Intelligence is a virtue.
Intelligence is a virtue. Well, IQ is how they measure intelligence.
Okay, well, I think IQ is very flawed in many ways.
Strength is not a virtue.
Okay, fine. Let's just say good academics. Academic success.
Let me put it this way: if you're on a desert island,
we're talking about the world, man. We're not talking about your hypothetical.
No, the hypotheticals are the world, you fool. if you're picking a team of people who need to help you in a high-risk situation over the next year, what type of character traits are you going to pick for your teammates?
Not at all. Each person will be different and have their own strengths.
Stop trolling.
I'm not kidding, dude. I believe.
What are some general ones you would pick? You can answer this. My 8-year-old can answer
general
this.
question, general traits
My 8-year-old
like-
can answer this.
like diligence,
Then what else?
like ability to learn quickly, adapt, like
Okay.
adaptability.
Yes. And a list of other shit like courage and dependability.
It sounds like
Yes.
Honesty is a big one.
Yeah, here you go. These
Well,
are
trust, right? Trustworthiness. I don't think honesty matters that much. Just trustworthiness.
now you get what I'm saying. So, list of virtues is an important thing to think. You said you like stoicism. There's an entire chapter about what are the virtues. I guess you
Dude,
never.
an entire room today was made based on one statement I made in the God room today about
You
stoicism.
give speeches about stoicism to everyone on here.
Yeah.
You can't list the virtues.
Okay, by virtues I mean things that people externally like. Okay, maybe virtue is the wrong word.
No, virtue is a word that everyone knows what it is, man. Come
Okay,
on.
I said I used virtue the wrong
Once I
way.
gave you the-
I should have just
once
used
I
like.
gave you the hypothetical, it snapped, and you went through a full list.
That's what I said. I used the word virtue in the wrong way. I should have used the word like external measures of success or something. Or things that women want on a dating app. You know, let's just say that dating app versus real life.
Dude, you got hammered in that atheism room. I told you.
Dude, at the end, they all loved me. Okay, Steve. Okay, you know what? When Steve hits 20,000 followers, let me just tell you, man. When Steve hits 20,000 followers, he said he will reveal everything about himself, and he will tell you he is a Christian man. Okay? You're wrong in that room. You're wrong in that room.
You are.
I convinced all of them that God exists.
You're such a fool. I haven't
Okay.
met on Clubhouse.
Okay? It's fine, man. When they hit 20,000 followers, the Steve is doing a
Steve
room.
Appel, the guy who holds an atheism room every day
Yes.
with several
Yes.
hardcore atheists.
Yes,
You have
because all the religious idiots, all the people who are religious,
you wanna
they
take
don't
a-
give a.
You want to take a bet that we'll go in there tomorrow and you'll get tooled on incessantly?
Sure, I'll bet you.
Yeah, how much?
Let's add another 500 to the bet.
All right. That you'll
We're up
receive
to-
no respect and you won't win
Yeah.
any.
Yeah, sure.
All right. I'll
1,500.
That bet.
Yeah, 555.
God damn, I could make a big living off of you just hanging around here.
Okay, well, 1,500 is not a lot. That's how much I lost on Kamala this year. So
Yeah, okay. Yeah, that was a good back and forth between
JR, what is up with this picture, man? What is up with this GIF? Like, why are you? What are you trying to say?
that's you. That's
I'm a big baby.
Toto's good. He took on the whole atheism.
And
He did a pretty good job, but they
yeah, he gave me some assistance.
I doubt. Listen, Tota, man, you're a smart guy. I doubt you switch any of those guys' opinions.
By the way, after talking to them, I converted to atheism. Now I'm an atheist.
Jesus, you're so impressionable.
Oh my god.
Change.
You know, atheism just means you reject all organized religion. It doesn't mean you don't believe in God.
You don't know what it means.
That's not true.
They called it spiritual atheism.
Yeah, that's.
I didn't know until today. Atheism meant
We call that Tota. We call that modern day cope. That's what it is.
spiritual atheism is like Krishna consciousness. Those are the same words.
what the fuck are you talking about?
Atheism, according to them,
anything about the life of Krishna.
according to them, atheism means not believing in organized religion.
He can't tell you anything about Hinduism, but now he's doing.
Okay,
comparative
well,
religion
You know what?
and the meaning of life.
I will actively help Steve get 20,000 followers by bringing all of my girls into Steve's room and asking them to follow him. And
Girls.
we'll see what
What am I
happens.
fucking missing here? What am I missing here? This guy said, "What the fuck?"
Okay, right now I have like a 7 out of 10 success rate with women on this
That's
list.
zero success though.
Oh, by the way, I showed both the girls to my parents and they're happy with both.
What the fuck?
Yo, you have not.
Fuck you, but Burrell, this is a troll, right?
No, he
This
really
is a troll, right?
He's highly enthusiastic about trying to meet
About a catfish.
somebody.
Yeah,
About a
he's not-
catfish. I'm enthusiastic about a catfish.
He's not got a lead in like 5 years, man.
I'm enthusiastic about a catfish.
real one. I've told him that he needs to watch the show 90 Day Fiance.
I've seen 90 Day Fiance.
No, but you need to watch it
It's got
again.
zero-
I like Anfisa. Anfisa's my favorite. Anfisa. I love
Remember that black guy who keeps thinking she's real and the girls never, they're never real and they won't listen, you know?
Okay, how much? All right, well, we already bet, so there's no need for me to ask you how much to bet.
Rahul, you don't want to be like the guy on the show, like Big Head.
I haven't bet any of them any money. What is the big deal?
The big deal is it's an infinite game that keeps going this life. You're going to get fleeced over and over. You'll say I didn't.
That's fine, man. Today I was in a room. This guy was talking about how he had 4 divorces already. Indian guy. Comes from a very wealthy family. Lost half of his land on all these divorces.
So what?
And unlike Mr. V, I don't care about generational wealth. So if I lose my money to these girls, whatever, it's charity.
What kind of incelish kind of...
I'm not an incel. Do not call me an incel. I'm not an incel. No, I'm a voluntary celibate.
You're talking about not caring about losing your parents.
Risking all these?
Are you?
My parents' wealth is my money.
Tota, if you were a vol-cel, why would you be? If you were a voluntary celibate, why would you be rizzing these girls up all over?
Because I'm tired of being a voluntary celibate.
That's called involuntary, my man.
It's not involuntary if I'm actually getting people who show interest in me. Should I ping a random into this room and flirt with her?
So you were but now you're a vol-cel?
No, I was always a voluntary celibate. Well, actually, no. In college, you can call me an incel for the first year and a half or 2 years. But I was never one of those nasty red-pilled idiot people.
Listen,
it was just not getting dates. What?
Thought that you're in your mid-20s. You don't have a lot of experience with girls. It's not a shame. It's not like a mark of shame. It's normal for most of us.
I'm not saying it's a mark of shame.
Yeah, so just own it.
I do. What do you mean? I'm not an incel. That's just not true. I can say other things in this room, but there are women in this room I don't want to say.
You kind of you've had low mileage. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, that's true. No, it's true. So I've been on dates, but I don't move any further than that.
The fact you had low mileage makes you naive about the whole game a little bit.
You've helped me. No, I know you've done a lot for me.
When business is telling you can't talk like that, it is shocking when he hears what he hears. Business has been on Clubhouse 2-3 years. He's never heard.
Of course, nobody talks about being not having sex for years.
Well, you're talking about openly losing your parents' generational wealth. Like, what the hell are you talking, dude? You sound like.
You think my parents are going to give me a penny? You think my parents are going to give me a penny? All of my parents' money will go to my other sibling. My parents will not give me a single penny.
That you have going on.
My parents will not give me a single penny.
What did you do?
Mark my word.
Ever wondered why?
Because I have more. I will have more than them by the time it comes for the will to be passed on to me.
So why would they disinherit you like that?
I don't want any of their money.
But you just said they will never give it to you. That's too difficult.
No, I specifically will reject all the money and not agree to any such thing.
You just said they're not going to give me any money. They're going to give it all to my other sibling.
Well, no, obviously they're going to split it.
Reject it.
I don't want anything from them.
Listen, man, I don't know many topic. Here, man, I'm trying to watch out for you, man, but this is high level autism that I'm hearing here, man. This is next level
has
shit.
said the same thing.
Well, fuck, maybe he's right. This guy's an actual doctor.
And Morel said that you just need to change your speech patterns, like respond slower, don't say things that people find surprising.
Yeah, take a deep
breath. But this is a room with men, so I don't really care.
Take a deep breath, let it rattle around before you talk.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to bring all my girls in there and impress Uncle Steve Appel, who's one of the most pathetic guys on here.
Come on, man. You know his life story. He's a government contractor. I think he's blind.
Listen, Uncle Steve's the kind of guy I don't want to even hear talking.
Okay, what did you think about T?
I think it's a big room of losers that you were.
No, T. What did you think about T?
I don't know. T.
The physicist. The physicist.
in the guy in the atheism room.
Yeah, in the atheism room. What do you think about T? The guy who was helping me with my argument.
I think the whole room is low class, low information. They're mostly atheists who are just
Okay,
trying to
let's change the
reinforce each
topic
other's
then.
view.
Let's change the topic then. Why is Anoop's name always in the title and he's never here?
He was on Twitter. He had a really good room. I know you don't like him, but as I explained to JR, I think.
Come on, at least I take your advice. The Anoop guy takes nobody's advice.
You're splitting again. No. When has anyone advised him on anything?
He's not worthy of advice.
Okay, that's a different story than what you just said.
If okay, Morel, I have mentored people. If I don't think someone's worthy of my help, I won't help them.
What have you mentored them on? And what topic?
I've helped engineers get promoted. When I was in high school, I coached a math team, and I helped them get to the state championship. I've helped people along the way.
That suffices. All right, go on. Go ahead.
Like if I don't think someone is worthy of my help, I will not help them.
So I like Adrian Dittman. It says Tota has no humility. I'll agree with Adrian Dittman on this one.
Okay, I come from a family of narcissists, and I myself probably am a narcissist. And the women I like are also narcissists.
Yeah, Tota needs intellectual humility.
Challenge me, and I will be quiet. Nobody in this room is challenging.
Dude, you get stomped. You got curb stomped in every. I think you're a masochist. You like getting stomped in front of everyone.
I don't like getting stomped. You think I'm getting stomped?
That's why you go to these Indian rooms and misbehave every day.
Morel, ever since you told me about to not say certain things, and another guy told me to stop saying certain things, I've
done
stopped.
that for over a year.
Well, you know what? If that really is what is my downfall, then so be it. I don't care. I have a startup idea and a startup founder waiting to get started, so that's what I'll do next.
I like Rahul, man. Rahul is the only investor in my movie.
You're
Like I
being
try to give JR money, but he
gently
doesn't give me a budget.
No,
warned. Being a nicer,
Rahul, actually, I was working on.
kinder,
I didn't want to spend
loving
your money.
person.
By the way, JR, once I win the 3 of Morel's bets, I'll just give that money to you.
Good, being gently warned
That's
and
gonna be-
being a
it's up to
nicer,
1,500. I don't think I
kinder,
wanna push
loving
it.
person.
Past 2,000, but it's up to 1,500.
All these people are just jealous of you, man. You're a smart guy.
No. Okay. I don't think the whole. I don't think that's
K
true.
is really gonna get. I mean, will be rich, super rich.
Listen to this, JR.
Moral.
Listen to this. In the room with Uncle Steve, the atheism room, Rahul's been interested in religion for like 2 weeks. I think Ruby Roy got him interested. He's went from atheist to religious. He goes into Uncle Steve's room, ready, and says and starts arguing, kind of nicely, that God is evident everywhere. That's why he believes in God, which I agree with. But he got chewed up and spit out in about 10 seconds. Uncle Steve started asking him questions in about 15 seconds. Rahul said,
Morel, you joined after 45 minutes of me talking to them.
This is what he said. He said, "Can you give me 5 minutes? I got to think about that. That's a good question, Steve. I got to think about that."
Yeah, and he put me down, like I asked.
Yeah,
what's the point?
and they threw him
Okay, you
down.
want to hear the argument? I'll go through it very quickly.
Think about it down there, and they threw him down.
Yeah, because that's what I asked for.
They whipped
Let me tell you the argument very
I
quickly.
really like how Rahul thinks, man. Rahul is.
Okay, let me tell you. Let me explain in 60 seconds why God
You lie
exists.
on your explanation. You say that you ruled the whole room if you let you explain.
Okay, let me just go. Okay, they started with Big Bang Theory, right? They started with Big Bang Theory, and I said they said Big Bang Theory happened, and I said either God did Big Bang or God did not do Big Bang. And they're like, okay, we agree with that dichotomy. So I said, let's say God did not do Big Bang. Then they said, okay, the only other possibility is that a Big Bang caused the Big Bang. Right? There's Big Bang 1, and then Big Bang 2. So I said, okay, let's recurse this infinitely. They're infinite Big Bangs. Okay? If they're infinite, and the axiom you use is that if there was one Big Bang, every Big Bang has a previous Big Bang. And if you establish that, you have infinity. That's how you prove the natural numbers are infinite. Natural numbers are negative infinity to infinity, like negative 1, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay? So now if there are infinitely many Big Bangs,
Did God start it?
you
You started scratching your head.
no. That's the flaw. God did not start any of the Big Bangs. That's the thing. There's only been a single state forever, which is the Big Bang.
Atheism rooms are a waste of time. They've been going for 2 years.
Dude, let me just fucking finish my explanation.
I'm not interested.
Dude, Adrian is completely correct. Adrian, you get it. Adrian gets it. The Big Bang is always in the now. There's always a Big Bang happening. Or like, every so often there is a Big Bang, right? So now you're in the steady state. What is the steady state? The steady state is God. God is the laws of the universe. God is not Jesus. God is not Krishna.
I'm not bringing this up to have an atheist.
Krishna consciousness can be
Tell you
compared
that
to
you're being
atheism or
naive.
the material
No,
state.
this is how I convinced that. And then finally someone was like, okay,
Knock me up here.
man,
I can't deal with you, Rahul. You prattle a little.
because I won the room over and you're jealous of me because you could never do it.
The room in any way. The reason I brought up the conversation is because they were tooling on you for 30 minutes straight. They were dragging you, and you think you went in there and ruled over them, changed their actual heart. These hookers have been
Adrian,
for 3 years.
or not Adrian. Steve will never forget my
Stop, please. $500 bet. Tomorrow they're going to treat you like a jackass, okay?
Steve will never forget my name. And I've already won the argument.
Steve
Because
abused
Steve
you.
is an angry
Steve
piece of
will
shit
never,
asshole.
Steve abused you. Steve threw you down.
No, I asked him to move me down. What do you mean?
Steve threw you down to say,
I asked him to give me 5 minutes so I could think about it, and he moved me down.
No, you got stumped. Back.
As soon as I put in the chat, I'm
But,
ready, he moved me back up.
You're
Yeah, I know, but he threw you down as a
Because
joke.
I asked him to give me 5 minutes, okay?
He threw you down as a joke to everyone.
However,
like I just did. Okay.
if you read the
And it
Vedas,
was to shut you up, and everyone fucking laughed at you. And that's what happened, Rahul. And that's the demonstration of the story. It was not to get into atheism debate.
Dota, you're very intelligent.
just to show you
However, if
how
read the Vedas,
wildly
you're
off
in
you are.
meditation.
Your evaluation of
Let
yourself.
me tell you something. Steve is a religious man who wants to convert atheists to God.
You want to take another bet on that?
Not yet. I need to hear Steve talk.
You're full of shit.
Liberal cunt.
No, I just don't want this bet to be so negative for you.
Steve is
you
an
know?
atheist Jew and a liberal cunt.
Look at Didman's chat. Everybody knows this guy. He's been on Clubhouse.
You know how they define atheism is very different, right? They define atheism as
Don't backpedal out of it. He's a frank atheist. Any way you define it.
Patience is a rich
Okay.
shit.
so. They said something very interesting about atheists.
Atheist Jew and a liberal
The best-
Can
cunt.
we stop
best
talking about
atheist-
atheism for a moment?
Okay, fine.
We're just talking about why you said you're going to bring all the girls in there to Steve's room. Anyway.
No, I will. No, Steve, he said when he hits 20,000 followers,
Did you hear what he said?
Dota, the women
when
will,
Steve
the
hits
women
20,000 people in his house, he will do a
knock
reveal.
down your door.
And you believe that, Tota?
Yes, and I want to hit 20,000 as
Just
fast
be
as
a
possible
man
so I can win the
who
benefit.
seeks
This guy's talking
wisdom.
crazy, Morale.
Those are literally his words.
This
Right
guy-
here.
Dota, the women will knock down your door. Just be a man who seeks wisdom.
He's going to bring his women there, it seems.
Yeah, he bitches.
My followers, not my women.
Who the
My
fuck
followers.
do you think you are? You think you're fucking Ram Rahim Singh? Is that who you fucking think you are, Tota?
Who is that? I don't know. Who is that?
You don't know who that
Who
is?
is that? Who is that?
That's a religious leader, Nick.
I'm not a religious leader.
You're sounding like him,
I don't
man.
want anything to do with it. I don't know. I'm modern day Clubhouse little celebrity.
No, it's a high risk strategy, as I've told you.
Dude,
to do
me and Madhavi are set for life.
How?
What, Madhuri Dixit? Is that what you're talking about? Is that your new
Who
person?
lost
You're
this
talking
family?
about?
There's a guy called Madhavi. There's a guy.
Smokes
Oh man, there's a guy called Madhavi who I met.
Let me shut you up.
Drinks
Because this
whiskey.
guy is your friend in real life now, and you're about to talk shit about
No,
him.
I'm not. I
Creates-
said we're set for life. I'm talking about it in a positive way.
Low
I was
IQ.
coaching him on girls yesterday.
You You're about to talk shit about him, Tata.
No, I'm not. The problem is he's an alcoholic. Okay,
There you
that's
go.
the problem.
Here you go, business. This is how he treats his friends.
I've told him to his face. I've told him on this app, dude, you need to stop drinking. He said, yeah, I
Why
will.
are you throwing
Uncle
dirt on
Steve
the guy's
uses his room to cope for his situation. He lost his family, smoked cigarettes, drinks whiskey, and creates low IQ content with people who waste their time.
He knows what he is.
But none of the 10 people here know.
Nobody knows who I'm talking about, but you.
You just said his name.
Okay, and they're gonna find a Madhavi. They're gonna find 100 female Madhavis.
You got to have more awareness. If you just took some deep breaths and didn't talk so fast, you'd know you shouldn't have said some of these things. Like, I'll take the girls into Steve's room and stuff. That's all I'm saying. I know you don't mean that stuff. You're just reflex saying this crap.
I will actively ping people into Steve's room from tomorrow onwards.
Yeah. Let's see how the bet goes first.
Okay.
Once they douchebag you again.
Okay, well, there's no. Hold on. I've not agreed to this fourth bet.
No, the third bet on how Uncle Steve will treat you tomorrow.
What? No. That was not the third bet. Come on. What are you saying?
The third bet is you will make a great impression in Uncle Steve's room tomorrow.
No, it's not. What do you mean, dude? Bet number one
Atheism is a cope
is,
for lazy people who
Steve
do not
wins
pursue
LA.
wisdom,
What is
philosophy,
bet number
joy,
three?
or love. God is the greatest
What was the
riddle
third bet?
anyone can pursue.
What was the third bet? The recent bet we just made 10 minutes ago.
Oh, Steve. Oh yeah, Steve will remember me or something. What was it?
No, man,
Steve will not trash me.
are you drinking or something? Yeah, Steve will
Man,
not
I-
trash me. Yep. You got it.
Yeah. I'm not
How do
drinking.
you,
I'm
how do
just
you remember that?
because you reminded me.
Yeah, so I'm reminding you because I knew you forgot. How did I know that? Because you're fucking talking too much. You gotta get that 500 out, boy. Because those guys don't like you in that room.
Okay.
And I don't give a shit if they like me. Because I don't spend time there and choose not to.
Actually, but
Uncle
Whatever
Steve
you're
show
on,
should be
like that.
called "How Angry Will Steve Get Today?"
whatever.
Uncle Steve is way out there.
You know, I respect atheists more than non-atheists.
Yeah, it's because you're retarded.
Angry will
Because there was a girl in there, like Sativa or whatever her name was. She said the Big Bang happened, but then she also said the Earth is 10,000 years old. Those people are like a disgrace to whatever religion they practice. Just because the Bible says the Earth is 10,000 years old does not make the Earth 10,000 years old. I'm sorry. Like, how can you believe in the Big Bang?
The age of the Earth does not determine the value of a person.
How can you believe in the Big Bang and not believe in dinosaurs or the age of the
Bravo, this is where you're a fool, that you think IQ and muscle strength are the virtues of a man. The belief in the age of the world is not the judge of the goodness of a person, you fool. Can you understand what
How
I
is
just said?
Big Bang even related to Earth's birth?
Long story short, Tolta, we're
The
trying to
universe is
help you out
infinite
here. We're
return.
trying to help you
Some
out
people
here.
believe in God, in Jesus, Ganesha. Some people believe in things that
Just
are
a metaphor for
unscientific.
sex. Milky Way.
And if that makes them
The
low value
universe is
to you,
infinite and eternal.
I think you're outrageously out of line.
What Tolta
No, but-
needs to do is that Tolta needs, like, he just needs to humble himself.
No,
I agree with humility. I agree with Adrian Dibman. You just need to just calm down, take a deep breath, Tolta, and just humble yourself. We know you're a big shot. You're living over there in LA, whatever. You're in the West Coast. You get the nice sunlight. You're fucking jam-packed with vitamin D from the seams you're boosting out of it. Just humble yourself, man. You're good.
But also, 1 million light years away. Okay.
You know why I'm so full of energy?
From Earth.
Because I've not spoken to Jasmine all day today. She's in some room with some Calvin guy.
We're not doing this to him. He's talking about that girl who's a catfish. He's doing the 90-day fiance stuff. It's
Kindness
outrageous.
and
It's unhealthy.
friendship.
I don't want to be associated with it. I don't want you to be my. I don't want you to be my project anymore to help you. Our help is done. The three bets are complete. If I'm 5 and 5, you need to pay up like a man when I sweep those. Okay. I know she blocked me because I called her out for not being who she is. And she couldn't deal with that. Right? I didn't say anything. rude.
Everyone,
I just said those
lots-
aren't your picture. I don't
lots of
believe your
people
story.
here.
You're in LA. your accent doesn't sound like someone who lived in Singapore. So 5, 5, and 5. I don't want to hear your fucking
That's what people
lectures
fall for.
and defense mechanisms all the time. It's outrageous.
Oh, Tota. What you do, Morel? Come on.
Lazy lovers.
Tota. He's our main investor in our movie, man.
He can't stop talking. It's always about himself and his girlfriends that are fake.
I don't know what this guy's made of. Tota, all I care about is your investments, and that's why
If
you
you give me a budget, I will pay.
Toto's so easily fooled, he really would pay you.
I'll write it off as a tax loss.
Don't listen to Morel. He's just jealous. Tota, you got this, man.
No,
I like
the
this
difference
guy.
between me and Morel is that I'm willing to break relationships with my mother, and he's not.
Yikes.
That's a virtue.
That's what I like about you, man.
That's a virtue.
It's a necessary pain.
In his sick world, it's some sort of
My
It's a necessary thing. That's a sad,
Makes sense.
but maybe
Okay.
necessary.
You watch too much Naruto there, Tota, man. You watch it too much.
Bro,
I do not believe in what the Uchihas did. Okay, the Uchihas killed their parents. I don't believe in
You
it.
said you really destroy your family, man. That's exactly what he did, man.
in the land.
For the good of the planet Earth, yes. For the good of the planet, yes. Humanity's success matters a lot to me, more to me than my individual life.
The second Tota gets a bitch, he's gonna just kick his mom down the stairs. Right out of the house.
I will just not go back home.
Decide with his life more than the mom.
That is more important than his life.
All over the place, man, in India Morale. He's the type of dude that goes side with the in-laws families over his own. I know this type of guy. I've seen him many times, Morale, these type of
He
guys.
will go and pick the in-laws up at the airport,
Correct.
and his mom, he won't give two shits.
Correct. We've seen these things coming out.
No, not true.
Yeah, that's true.
Is that what happened to you, Morel? Is that what your wife asked you to do?
No, like I said, we have a wonderful. My mom's sleeping in bed.
Okay, well, this taxi story I've heard like 4 times. So who is it?
No, we're talking about situations, man. We're talking about in-law situations.
This taxi situation, Morel has told me 3 or 4 times already. So who is it?
It applies. It applies.
Yeah, who is it?
A good friend of mine. 3 people that I know that do this type of behavior. They treat
And
their wives.
where do they end up in life?
One's a neurosurgeon. Another one is another type of doctor, hospitalist. Another one is a lawyer.
So not too bad outcomes.
No, well, again, I think it's like being in
If I
hell.
want learn humility,
I think it's
so
the worst
suffers
outcome.
from divorce. Begins to
Life
learn
waste.
And now I don't care.
You think that life's all rosy? A girl's gonna eat you up and shit you out, man. You're a sucker. Suckers more than every minute.
Man, let it happen. Let it happen.
100%.
Okay, you don't learn without failing, correct?
Dota, you're gonna suffer. Morale's just trying to give you practical, pragmatic, adult, common sense advice for a young person full of energy like yourself. You're gonna learn, but you're gonna learn through suffering.
And there's a problem in that. Why?
You try because you don't you want to skip the line?
No, I don't want
And
to. My life will be too short. then.
Tota is the Buddha. No, Tota is the Buddha. He wants to live through suffering.
There's some
He's the
mistakes.
Buddha. No.
There's some mistakes you can't make, like neglecting your parents. So you don't get to go back on things.
Okay, the son of Buddha. Buddha was always absent. How did the son of Buddha live?
The son of Buddha was always absent. How did the son of Buddha
Oh, no.
live?
I'm saying Buddha was always absent because he was always on his treks or whatever.
Dude,
What
you
happened
know
to
what?
the son of Buddha?
Go read the Dhammapada, the book of Gautama the Buddha, and that's all you need to know about the Buddha.
I don't care about the Buddha. The Buddha is my dad. Okay?
No, you're supposed to be the Buddha, stupid.
Narcissistic, he thinks his dad is.
Buddha, my dad is Buddha, not me.
Your dad is trash. If you raised
My dad is Buddha. Okay.
Tota, the point of the Buddha's teachings is so you can try to be like the Buddha and have the wisdom.
Your father allowed your mother to take over the house and scream.
Just as yours did. Yours did not.
No, that didn't happen in my house. I'm talking about your house. You grew up in a house with a mom screaming at your dad and screaming at you. And
Well, my mom never raises
you
her
up.
voice to my mom never raises her voice
she's
to
the
my dad.
boss. She's the boss of the family. Stop joking.
My dad is the soft leader.
No, your dad is fucking can't even speak back. He's not allowed to.
My mom does not raise her voice to my dad. My dad is the man in the relationship.
You ever heard of silent shouting, Tota? With the eyes?
Your mother has told you you're some sort of god or some.
My mom
bullshit.
thinks I'm a failure.
Why do you have so
Failure
much?
every time she looks at my face?
Tota, the whole thing about growing up is resolving conflict with your parents, and you will be amazed that when you ask for forgiveness or you humble yourself, all of your own personal problems also resolve because it's internal emotional conflict, which is the biggest problem going. You need to resolve your conflict. You need to basically say, I'm sorry, I'm immature, I'm young and stupid, please forgive me. And then everything goes back to normal and it's happy
you don't think
again.
I've been doing that for the last 2 days at home?
You're not doing it.
No, not with your attitude. Not with your.
Yeah, you're not
attitude.
sincere. You're not being humble and mature.
You need to forgive your mom.
Yeah, she needs to forgive herself.
There you go. Some sort of cope answer. Why can't you forgive her?
Listen, real
I
courage.
already have.
Tota,
I
the
already have.
virtue
What
that
did you
Morel's
say when-
talking about.
What did you say when you forgave her?
She said she was even more narcissistic than she normally is.
You didn't forgive her.
Yeah, I did. I said the way certain things happened, I blamed you in the past, but whatever.
When was this?
Yesterday, dude, as soon as I got home.
You took the advice I gave you. So she then said what?
Well, we talked for an hour without yelling, which is positive.
Listen, not every mom is the smartest tool in the shed, but that's what's called being a good
My mom
son.
is probably a Jyotish, okay?
I don't believe that you told your mom, I forgive you for everything you did. That would be she would have gone off. Any mom would have gone crazy on that.
I picked very specific instances. I did not pick the biggest fish yet, That's to come.
Tota, I got a picture of the Buddha hanging above my toilet. It says, let it go. Whatever your discrepancy is, you need to let it go.
In my mind, I've forgiven whatever has happened, okay?
When's the last time you meditated?
Today. Because some guy really pissed me off, and I had to eat food, and you cannot eat food when you're angry. So I did a little bit of things in order to finish my food.
A little bit of things.
I listened to some very nice music, some religious music, which I just randomly picked on YouTube, and I just listened to the vibrations and chilled out. I have not a clue what they were saying, but it did not matter to me.
I'll trade things that didn't happen for $500, Alex.
You want me to bring my mom? I literally happened today.
Listen, man, I'm not going to take the time and invest to teach you closed-eye meditation or breathing exercises, but these are things you really need.
Hello, I know about Vipassana or whatever it's called, okay?
You don't know it. You don't do it. Stop bullshitting everyone and lying. You need to go see a therapist pretty badly. You're in a high-power position that this type of behavior will ruin your career and your life. And you can just get a therapist and forgive people.
I don't know what to tell you, given that I've already
All of
started
us
doing
got it
things.
out of our system who are older. We all did this in our 20s, maybe a little earlier for most people.
Yeah, what you're experiencing, everybody here probably has gone through, which is basically
I don't
anger.
doubt it.
It's anger is the problem, Tota. You have to find peace. And when you find the peace, you can bring the peace to your mother and give her the peace as well.
I have found peace today, or not today, like as of today. I just need to share it in a way that's that reaches her.
Well, my mom just had her birthday, and I read her some poetry. That's how you have to communicate with kindness, with love, with patience.
Let me be honest with you, okay? I need to speak to her in Hindi, which I've never done in my life. Okay, English sounds too harsh, and she has negative associations with it. Okay. Also, I can speak a lot faster in English than Hindi, so naturally, the communication will be better in Hindi. Okay, that's what I need to do. Whether I will do it or not is a different story.
Is it because you yell at her in English? Is that why? That's why it's a
I cannot yell in Hindi. Okay, I do not know any of the swear words. I do not know anything.
Sorry, money boss, Banchod. Sorti nas ho
Which
gaya
naturally
kute.
slows me down. Okay, there's a reason why the girls on here like when I speak Hindi. Because I'm actually calm.
Stop trolling. You're notorious. People are disgusted by your laugh about it nonstop behind your back.
They love it.
Listen, I'm gonna ping in my girls, and I'm gonna see what they think of you, Tota, and they're gonna give you an honest analysis of your personality. And I think you're gonna be kind of shocked at the responses you hear. They're not gonna be attracted to you.
Tota, they're all jealous of you, man. I think you're doing great. I love your routines. Very polished. Indeed. Fuck. I wish I could.
Okay, JR. As long as you're entertained, that's all.
That's how dumb what you're saying sounds. What you just
Tota, why don't you just sing us the Gayatri mantra? Let us hear you do the
I
mantra for the
don't even
Gayatri.
know what
He
that
doesn't even
is.
know the life of Krishna, life of Rama. He doesn't know anything about him.
I only know one song, which I don't want to sing because Storm is here and she's going to record. If you kick Storm out of the room and all the other women, I'm happy to sing.
No, we won't be kicking Storm.
Okay. Well, Storm, if you leave quietly, you can come back in 90 seconds.
Don't sing songs for people when they ask you like that.
Tota, with
What's wrong with you?
with the personality that you're exhibiting now, you're going to have to find a really insecure woman that's going to want to stay with you, because most women will not enjoy the personality that you're exhibiting right now.
My personality in this room is very different from my other personality.
Yeah, we do want to hear him sing Storm. He's shy in front of women.
I don't want to sing in front of Storm because she'll record.
Is this a different Tota? Is this a different Rahul we're talking about? This is your alter ego? Is this what's going on, Tota?
This is my just talking to random people. I can be as trolly as I want.
See, this is called, people
How many
actually,
personalities do you have?
yeah, that's the thing is people are what they think and what they say. That's by the Buddha, the Gautama, in the Dhammapada. It says you are your thoughts.
There are two personalities, calm and not calm. There's no others.
Those are states, not personalities.
Okay, well, okay, fine. Now I have two states. I'll use the right language. Thank you. I have no multiple
So
personalities.
this is just feedback so you can get laid. I hope you know that. Like, nobody here dislikes you or wants bad things for you. This is just like, yeah, this is contrarian feedback.
You guys are all doing charity.
It's more than that, Adrian. It's been a team approach of therapists from every different angle trying to help this young man.
Yeah, this is if this was being
leaving the station.
if this was being billed to your insurance company, this would cost like $100,000, FYI.
Hey man, I'm not. I appreciate the effort. I'm not going to let you guys down. So
No, you're letting us down when you say stuff like, "I'm going to bring all the girls, my girls, to teach you." You're really impressing you.
Not me.
You think you're impressing? Though.
Listen, Steve hasn't gotten a blowjob since 1975. Okay, his wife left him. He's a hardcore atheist. He hates Trump. He hates himself, and he talks to losers on this app who have the IQ of an ant. He has a collection of ants. He's got an ant farm. You think that's something, to gloat about? I mean, I record the guy and, debate with him because, I mean, he organizes, but nonetheless, it's, it's pretty pathetic. It's not educational.
okay, let me tell you something. he is not an atheist, but he pretends to be an atheist because you guys will find out. Okay, when he hits 20,000 followers, which I hope will be in a couple months.
20,000 followers. The guy's gonna die of lung cancer in a couple weeks. What do you think is gonna happen with the Uncle Steve show? It's a nothing show.
Are you really helping the guy?
And he believes it because Uncle Steve told him this. That's
Yeah, he did.
the idiotic part. He believes it just because.
Listen, Clubhouse is a joke. It's going to go away. This is not a healthy way to spend your time. And the app, you see the new party hats in the room? There's no new users on this app. It's a dead platform.
So hang on. Let me step in here because the thing is, all communication is broken. So what Adrian's really trying to position right now is a way of mindful, hypnotic communication, right? Hear how he pronounces his vowels on what he said about Steve. But yeah,
Ant farm.
just be careful.
Yeah,
Be careful.
Here's another one.
Adrian?
He's a fool troll. Let me give you the read real quick. Listen, Adrian, tell me this. This is another Tata special. Everybody in here.
He said that he met a very wise and great lady in another room. I said, oh, really? Yeah, really super. 10 out of 10. She was so smart and great. I said, what was her name? He said, Sin Sin. It's written C-Y-N-C-Y-N. I mean, Tota, there's just random people on Clubhouse. That's what Adrian's telling you. These are just random people who've been here forever.
Yeah.
rattling around.
So many people will die
You know what it
here.
is, right?
Many
Hold
people
on.
will
If you're
die here.
religious
They will
world,
not
then you
escape
believe
this echo
every
chamber.
human has something to offer.
No, I don't believe that for me. Every human does not have something to offer for me. That's wrong. That's stupid and naive, and it leaves yourself open to
Tota,
attack from all angles. It's idiotic.
just download Bumble and Hinge and talk to real women and just actually go out on dates or just talk to them on the app because women on here
Over
are
the last
completely
3 months,
different.
I've gone out on 10 dates, okay, over the last 3 months.
I think what Tota needs, he needs to go on one of those speed dates. That's the only chance.
Tota because you're single yourself.
Well, I know, but I just went out on a date with an Indian doctor. But to tell you the truth, I was going to see her again today, but the problem is, I got to say, like American women, it's just short-term dopamine feedback looping. So it's, I don't know what the answers are, but I know that, communication, I just can tell that you're going to have difficulty but that's why you need to practice. You need to go to Bumble and Hinge and talk to women and get the feedback.
Should I go to business school? I get an MBA.
You should go to speed dating. That's what
Yeah,
you
well,
Should I get an MBA?
Yeah, you should because you'll meet women. You'll meet women in college too, like get the MBAs, date, network.
Date college.
Actually, Adrian's my coach, so
Adrian.
a lot of his technique I've implemented in it.
What's
All right,
your
Kyle, you're follower number 43 or friend number 43.
What's
Which is a
your
very
technique?
secret number.
Don't throw him
So
down.
Kyle, you get the special recognition.
Why you talk too much? Okay, I want to know his technique, but Adrian can tell me his technique. What's your technique?
He's just being facetious. I mean, I record philosophy, poetry. I mean, I'm just trying to, ward off brain rot and do neuroplasticity. It's just philosophy, psychology. Like if you read Upanishads, the Vedas, the Bhagavad Gita, it's really just to keep you sharp and acute and to enhance your communication capabilities so you can flatter and woo a woman.
Which you cannot clearly do that.
I've done it a long time. I mean, I'm not saying I'm a pro or a player, but I can at least talk to a woman, grab a woman's hand, give it a massage, look her in the eyes and tell her, God, you're the most beautiful woman I've ever seen. Like it's just a question of having.
So why does it always end up with the woman, man? I don't get this. Like, you like everything in here is about like, it's like only if you can woo or go, like, you're more accomplished. Like, what the fuck? Like why?
Listen, all communication is hypnosis.
That's a virtue that all men kind of look at and say, hey, listen, this guy's a ladies' man. That's always been a positive thing for men throughout all civilizations, north, south, east, to fucking west. Ladies' man is a virtue.
A woman is a computer. You have to have the command prompts to get it started.
No, but you could be very manipulative too and get in her pants. So, like,
Listen, man, we're talking about how. We're not talking about how to get into the thing. We're talking about what. We're not talking about how to do it, right?
like, okay, what, how, see.
Yeah, guys lie all the time. I'm sure when you go to fucking, I'm sure when you go to Uptown, or when you go to your whatever you're at, you go and party, and you tell them, hey, listen, I'm part of Jane Street.
What
I'm
is
sure
the,
they're fucking.
what is the
it's a lie.
end game? What is the end game? Is the, okay, either you get into a relationship or you want something out of that, right? So, why it has to be women all the fucking time? Like, yeah, that's the only way to prove, yeah. Oh,
So, you want to go pick up men? Yeah, exactly, mister. I was going to say.
no, but
Listen,
there are
JR,
other ways.
JR, God is a man and a woman. Why do you?
Hang on, Anup is ascetic, so, okay, are we going to say that, oh, he's a less of a man now because he's ascetic, he doesn't like women? Like, what the fuck, man? Like, you guys don't have any common sense?
I
Listen.
have things to say, and the first thing is like, dude, JR, I totally agree with what you're saying. I think about this all the time. Why does our society like value the idea that guys can get women or some shit like that? Like, there's like all this weird pressure to like date and get women for guys, and I think it's kind of dumb. But I feel like people are gonna say like, oh, it's kind of incelish to say this, but that's my opinion. Is that like I don't think we should kind of like prioritize like getting women so much. It's a strange thing, like there's something wrong with you because you don't get women. Like that's no
I don't like to agree with people. I don't generally agree with, but it's not about getting the woman. It's about
the second thing is the second thing that I want to say is, Adrian, how are you able to pull the Indian doctor? And the third thing is, I like telling girls I want to be inside of them right now, and they like that too. So yeah,
It's dopamine.
That works for you.
When you say I want to be inside of you right now, when you make sexual communication, you're definitely flaring dopamine, but you also have to be careful because you can disgust a woman by coming off as being a predator. So you have to do it with court flattery, or you really have to be very, considerate in your
It's just
sexual.
manipulative. That's what it is, man. Like you have to do it in a right way, right angle, right word, right tonality.
I think you do have to.
Soft.
There is also the animalistic approach where, if you really do think we're just monkeys and that alpha primate, that guy at the bar who just grabs him by the pussy and takes him right out of the bar and fucks him, like there's something to be said about that too.
And those only work for a certain set of guys, and you have to be very self-aware. A lot of the guys that do that are very self-aware, right? Like I would not suggest a guy like JR to ever do that unless you want to see him on the fucking news.
Yeah, I mean, you have to be aware of who you are, what your audience
You're
is.
always here on Saturday, Sunday, date nights you're here, dude. Valentine's Day.
Like if you go on, no one goes out on the week before
I've never seen you. You're like, oh, busy. You're out somewhere. You're always here, 24/7. You got nothing going on, and
Dude,
you're here twice.
you have a own room for yourself, buddy. You created a own fucking room.
I created my own fucking club. There are 3,000 people in my club.
Listen, this is just a form of this is just a category of conversation, which is love, relationships, and it's a good conversation. And I've told Morel that, like, as an Indian guy, I have a lot of Indian friends, and they have always struggled to get laid, and a lot of it is because they're lazy. And I have a lot of Indian friends that are super lazy, that spend no time on their communication, and frankly, they don't even care. They're more concerned about making money, and but they lose out on the pleasures of life.
They tend to focus not on their own body and their own physical features. I tend to know that, especially the guys like JR just come over right over the boat.
I really care.
Basic things, right? Like not putting on mountains of cologne when you smell bad. You go to take the shower first, then you put the mountain on cologne. Just too much cologne.
You live in fucking.
The style that they wear as well is they don't style themselves properly. They wear some real fucking.
You live in fucking
weird shit, right?
Like a western part of the world. Okay,
I'm sure JR goes around with a fucking stain on his shit.
Canada is literally like India. Okay,
I struck a nerve for JR, so it's clear as day, right? You don't even know
fucking jeans. Like, you don't even know the difference between low rise versus like a fucking straight jeans versus cut. Clearly, you have no idea like how many shades of blues are out there. Look, yeah, don't tell me about fucking
boot cut is popular.
Shades of blue.
Yeah, okay, you're a fucking bell bottom, fucking 90s, 80s.
In the 90s?
In the 90s. Yeah, exactly. Look, the Canadians are way behind when it comes to fashion. And he's fucking advising me how to pick up a girl. Are you fucking serious? I do this for a fucking living.
Well, listen,
I'm the best pickup artist on the planet.
Clubhouse is a great platform to practice your speech and your public performance because, you know, there's a time when I was younger and other people, or even a few years ago, like you can get very nervous thinking or looking at a woman and talk, what am I going to say? Like but you got to look back to all your Clubhouse experience, communication that flows naturally and is non-aggressive. You can have any conversation you want with anybody in the real world. I think somebody on this app yesterday said, like, I saw a girl and, you know, I can't remember what he said, but basically saying that, shitting his pants, anxiety. And this is what Toastmasters is. I mean, you can do Toastmasters on this app. You don't need to go to a Toastmasters meeting, but doing the talk therapy, doing the public speaking or studying public speaking is a very useful and worthwhile endeavor. And that young guy who's just in the room, I'm just saying that the advice that Morel is giving them, you know, these are all good things for young people on this app, that they need this kind of feedback. And, you know, that's why they're here, really.
Okay, I have a quick question, Adrian. So when you say that speaking well attracts women, is it like having a nice voice? Is it being able to articulate ideas well? What is it exactly? Because I've heard that from other people as well.
Keeping them entertained.
Keeping them entertained. Yo, business Daniel is naked. What the fuck? We got a naked guy.
So what it is basically, you're making women in a trance mode, right? So you're actually making them, because a lot of times women don't hear you, right? That, like, I don't think most women kind of like hear guys out that much. So you kind of have to use your body language.
Daniel, why are you naked? Why?
Let him be. He wants to show off that body. You may let him be, man.
Bro, I know that probably makes you salivate, JR. I know that makes you probably salivate, JR, right? I know.
If you got it, that's what Floyd Mayweather said. You know?
Yo, well,
We did have to ask this guy earlier if he was gay, remember?
No, but seriously, I'd like an answer for Adrian. Because I want to pull Indian doctors too.
Step 1, be white.
Listen, I texted her today. I was like, come over to my place and we'll do 2 paintings and we'll do some yoga. She's like, it's way too soon for me to come over to your house. So it's like, she's uptight. She told me in the past 3 years, she has fired 40 people from her dental practice. Clearly, she has an anger management problem, but that's okay. She's a beautiful woman. She comes from a good family. My chances of getting laid are probably pretty minimal. The point is that when you communicate, you have to be joyful. And that means using positive words. This is the basis of neurolinguistic programming. You don't go out on a date or have a call before a date and start talking about the weather or politics or anything negative whatsoever. You want to just basically realize that you are talking to an immature computer that needs joyful command prompts in order to operate the way you want it to operate. Don't feed it negativity and you will get positivity. Feed it joy, feed it love, feed it kindness, and you will put that woman into a positive state of mind. And she will think positively of you and fondly of you when you disengage. And then she will see you again because her memory is that you provided her with positive neurolinguistic dopamine.
It's like Pavlov's hierarchy of need. Every time he sees you or talks about you, her mouth has to salivate or think positively, right? I mean, this is what it is, right? That's just call it straight up.
It's about overall positive experience. It's not just like about generally like my experience that you can use any small things, right? Make her more positive and give her some sort of dopamine hit, right? Like you can give her like a lot of present. Even the present doesn't need to be like, like expensive. Anything that just kind of make her feel it's cute or like it's funny. But I don't know. That's why sometimes you see dumb guys get like a lot of affection from women. It's like once these dumb guys realize they got like no, they got the attention, they fuck up because they don't know how to, you know, escalate from that point. So the point is like trying to delay the escalation and make sure you're in the dominant position to escalate, right? So instead of letting the woman escalate, that's what most guys don't like or, you know, get afraid of or like, you know, pansy, right? And anxious.
I tried using a Democrat versus Republican. Fucking never, it never worked. And look, all I do is talk about politics, and that's the only line I can use. Adrian. And
That's the problem. You're talking to women as you talk to guys. That's the problem. Women and men are two different species, you know. There's a famous saying like men are from Earth and women from Mars, or like it's the reverse.
Correct.
Venus. You gotta talk down to. Oh my god. Yeah, no, that's not how it works. This is so retarded. The thing that women primarily will see initially is how other people respond to you, right? Do you have the confidence? Can you hold court? Do people listen? Do they ignore you? How do they respond? How do you respond to them, right? That is, women are very, very social creatures, and they want to see that social proof.
Yeah, one of the things that helped one of my buddies, it worked out. He's like, hey man, he came up to me at the bar. He's like, hey man, I really thank you for that help that you helped me a couple weeks ago for this project. I appreciate that. And that shit worked. I was late that night. The Mr.'s right. Mr. has a point here, right? I helped this guy with completely nothing. He was just one of my friends, and he just came and patted me on the shoulder, basically saying that, yeah, that works. Basically saying, hey, listen, this guy's a good fella. He's a swell guy. He's not a weirdo.
Look, a guy takes advantage of this and does this TikTok shit where he's got like a fake app or something where it looks like he's got like thousands of people who he's live streaming to, and the women look at this and he tries to pull them in. He's holding up the phone like a selfie mode, and the women are like, oh my god, look, you're live to like thousands of people, and they all start gushing, right? They all then instantly look towards him, right, to be like, oh my god, are you famous? Like, and instantly his status changes to them, right? Women are incredibly social creatures, and they see the social proof, rightly or wrongly, from others, and they weigh that way more than men do.
They're saying he's a swell guy, right? That's basically thinking he's a swell guy. He's a safe kid, especially with the development minister. You're right.
Look, it doesn't have to be women their own age, right? It's like, you could be like, I'm not necessarily saying older women, but if you were in a group, you'd be like, oh, women trust him. Like, that's subconsciously what they're thinking. But if you're just a lone wolf at the bar, being needy, trying to get their attention, like, you're setting yourself up for failure.
But it's also your internal attitude. What is your disposition? How happy are you? Do you have joy in your life right now? Do you need a woman to have happiness and joy? No. You need God in your life. And that type of magnetism is what women are attracted to. It's like creating a black hole of gravity. When you walk into the bar, if you are truly happy, your attitude is like an aura. It radiates, and women are attracted to happy people.
We're talking about two different things, right? We're talking about bypassing the disgust sensitivity, right? Because we've evolved to avoid the needy and the diseased, right? So anybody, you know, historically could have been a leper, right, carrying the Black Plague, whatever it may be. So we have a highly attuned sense of disgust, and it's like if a homeless person asks you the time, you're like, yeah, get the fuck away from me, right? Like, that's, women are probably even more attuned to it than men. So, but yes, once you're in the door, and if you bypass that, you've gotten beyond that stage, right? Although a lot of people don't get past that stage, then you can start being like, how do you conduct yourself? Do you have joy in your life? Are you, you know, pleasant to be around? You know, are you exciting to them? That's what they're going to be more interested. Are you exciting? And have you got resources for it?
Yes and no. I mean, I think it's totally possible. I mean, it's a little bit like the guru. You know, India is the land of gurus because it's a unity question with God. Many men are not in union with God. So women reject them because they are outside the circle of trust. It's all basically reframing. When you study poetry and philosophy, you are psychologically reframing yourself and putting yourself into higher states of consciousness. And many women don't need that type of education and training because they already are in a very high state of consciousness and they view themselves as being the divine feminine. So it's just incumbent upon all young men to really kind of go to a monastery, study God, and find the joy which is hidden within the wisdom of God.
That's right. That's right. Okay. Are you done trolling?
No, this is an opinion. I mean,
No,
you
that's
may not agree with it. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with that. No, I agree with that. Like the approach, right? The end result is the same, I think, across all different cultures, right? You need to have some sort of solitude, right? To kind of like have this internal dialogue, right? This is why I agree with Adrian's like perspective, right? Women's not gonna make, if you expect,
You have to be comfortable in your own company, yes, but no one has to go to that fucking monastery. That's what I'm saying.
But that's his tradition, though. I'm just
That's not his tradition. He's trolling you.
Daniel goes to the monastery of Grindr, where he's.
I don't mean a monastery per se. I mean, you need to find an hour of day to study God, which is wisdom.
Look, it's just like in business. You know, these things are very similar. Recruitment, I think, is very similar. It's about people fundamentally. People want that which they cannot have and chase that which moves away from them. If you are too full on too soon, right? If you display too much neediness, right? That's off-putting, right? That's what kills all deals in business and in dating. If your willingness to walk away, right? People, unless they're highly attuned and experienced with this, the default lizard brain wants to chase that which moves away from them, right? So if you want to approach a girl, but also instantly also willing to walk away back to your own group, right? That's a totally different experience than like the guy that's needy at the bar just won't leave her alone. So people want that which they cannot have and chase that which moves away from them.
I know, but the other expression
You're
is
just gonna make yourself interesting. That's it. Because when a woman goes out, her like immediate expectation is that if I dress well, if I look good, of course, guys gonna hit on me, right? So if that's the expectation, you're playing inside this, like expectation. Of course, you're not gonna be like rewarded, right? What you be rewarded is like you're right to a certain extent. You gotta be like cool, calm, and collected. You can't be like needy in front of the women. But at the end of the day, like if you actually tried picking up or like approaching in public, it's very difficult for cold approaches. It's probably better for like building up like other social skills rather than actually about picking up like. I think it's just a numbers game, really. It's like sales, really.
I know this might sound kind of like a shitty advice, but I think if you just have like a good dating profile and you live in a city where there's like a high ratio of women to men or something, then you'll probably have a lot of matches. I never cold approach. I only like go to things with my friends. And I have like Tinder and Hinge, and Tinder is like how I meet a lot of girls who just have a good profile, like have a good job, look jacked. And it's so stupid, but if it just looks really good, you're going to get a lot of matches. And then therefore a lot of dates.
yeah.
Sure. Well, that's a foregone conclusion, right?
Well, but
Looking good,
a lot of
means any clothing looks better on you as well, right?
but T-Robs, he's pointing out that a lot of men are so lazy and ignorant they don't actually know how to like spoof or peacock it.
Sure. Well, I think that frankly, never mind cold approach. Like, listen, you should be flirting a bit with like the girl at the gas station or whatever. Like, you should be doing this. It's like a muscle, right? You need to exercise it. And if you don't use it, you'll lose it. So this isn't like, hey, I'm literally going to go into the shopping mall and or the high street. It's like always be closing, right? Always be doing this. It's just a state of operating.
The moment she licked my arsehole, she was dead to me.
Well, I had to bring her home for her to lick my arsehole.
I hadn't even showered. We just got back from the nightclub.
No. This is what I fucked. She wanted to fuck the next morning after I fucked her.
Listen,
fucking red flags, bro.
I'm just saying that if you study God or you study the Upanishads, the Vedas, any kind of wisdom book, it will give you confidence because you will realize you are an extension of God, that you are tied up into the infinity and the eternity of the universe. There's a certain level of joy you should have that you can bring to a woman. And it's because you've studied the wisdom. And many women have never studied this stuff. You could study astronomy, and that would be a very interesting thing to talk to women about in a bar, because you can touch their hand. You can say, look, all your fingers are associated to the planets. This is Jupiter. This is it may sound stupid, but it's a form of communication.
It's as much retardedly. I'm not disagreeing, but I think you need to word it much better than this, right? You need to have a sense of self. You have to understand you have to have an identity. Most people in this world don't know who they are. That's why they can be sold by most marketing, which the basis of almost all marketing is you're not enough, right? And if you buy our product, you will be, right? And we can fill that hole. And most people walk around, they buy this shit that they don't need to impress people, they don't even like, right? Because they don't have a sense of self, that core solid identity. And because they don't know who they are, that comes across when you're speaking, especially with someone that you want to impress, right?
But going
like crumbles.
Going into a bar is like going into a clubhouse room.
Identity is the best.
I know. Okay, but when you go into a bar, the analogy.
Well, that's what you're saying. You're saying like learn this about who you are, right? Like you're saying your connection with God, or sort of like I'm not saying working is gonna work, but like this is what I'm into, right? Like, and knowing what it is, knowing who you are, knowing a lot about it, being able to speak with confidence about it, speaking with passion, energy, right? That's what they're hearing. They're not hearing whatever the subject matter is. They're hearing, oh, this guy knows what he's talking about. This guy's going somewhere. This guy's ambitious. It's like, there's just, what's that's relaying to the female brain is status, status, status. They're not even listening to
I know, but that's why the communication, what you're really doing is a subconscious
electrical signals.
Right. It's a neurotransmission. You're doing dopamine. It's a dopamine game. Clubhouse is a dopamine game. The bar and attracting women is a dopamine game. If you don't communicate, you cannot spike their dopamine.
Yeah. Like I'll give you an extreme case, right? Literally, an alien from Mars can fuck with any human woman because they can just spike their dopamine. That's all it is, right? Think about it. Anyone can fuck a woman if they get the right spots. For example, this is what I told myself actually, because if you realize that sometimes you gotta give yourself the ultimatum, right? You kind of have to yourself say, hey, even the aliens can fuck a woman because, again, right, this is all electrical transmissions. There's nothing intrinsic about this shit. This is not rocket science, right? You could say the most you can say anything, and literally, your way you can get into the women, right? That's all it is.
Yeah, what do you do the next day? And after that, though, it doesn't keep a woman, Daniel. That's why a lot of this talk is superficial game level bullshit. It's electrical signals. That doesn't work after.
It's about expectations, right? Like I said, it's like, are you here?
Yeah, just about having a value as a man and having some fucking solid operating principles.
Yeah.
They can see it in the way you hold your spine. If you're doing this fucking run fuckboy stuff, they can see that a mile away, dog. It's not interesting. It's not strong. It's not virtuous.
Yeah.
And it's not religiously based, which is a cheat code to just getting that.
The fuckboy stuff, I mean, I'm past the fuckboy stuff personally. Like, I want to actually find a life partner. But, the thing is, all this is just superficial communication. The point is, a lot of women will not have sex unless they actually have a drink in them to begin with, because it's literally the spirit that loosens it up. So, all this is just irrelevant.
If an alien could fuck her, why are you fucking girls than that? Even an alien could fuck. What is this? No.
That's the secret potion, right?
No secret, though.
Well, no, he's got a point, right? At the end of the day, just because you can eat McDonald's doesn't mean you should. Right. Like maybe you should be going for something a little bit better.
And you're meeting the
flirting on
wrong
the girl at the grocery store and hitting on the girl at the gas station is also just a cheap trick from Fresh and Fit.
No, I don't watch.
It's Rollo Tomasi cheap trick type shit. That doesn't get you on
Fuck these pickup artists and their
That doesn't get you.
fucking cool. No, fuck these pickup artists. This is nonsense. No, but being generally joyful, let's steal Adrian's word, right? It doesn't have to be like, oh, hey, baby girl, like at the fucking gas station. What I'm just saying is engaging with them and not therefore going in cold when it matters, right? It means that you're actually, think of it just as like, it's like a warm up, right? It's keeping you warm for when you're like limber and ready to pounce when it actually matters, right? People that think that they can just sit behind a dating app and a couple of photographs and then be like, oh yeah, whatever, and don't actually know how to act with others. Like this is, I don't know, you're just shooting yourself. But I don't subscribe to any of these fucking pickup artists, or what's the fucking faggot that wrote the game? I've never read this book, but it's the one that always gets talked about. Neil Strauss, something like that. Yeah, peacocking. I do think insulting a girl, actually, that bypasses. I've done that successfully, but it was genuine. I think that's probably one of their tactics. Yeah.
Lee Ken was saying he tells girls, "I want to be up inside you."
No, this is so retarded. Like, you have to be listening. No. If you're Brad Pitt, okay, or Leonardo DiCaprio, you can say that shit, and women will be like, oh, right? But if you look like some butt fuck from Timbuktu, yeah, you're gonna get reported to the cops.
I mean, but look, let's talk about long-term relationship here. Like since we have older gentlemen in this room, my intuition is that you kind of meet the girl, the woman, for long term within your social circles quite a lot, right? That's probably the best. For me, seeing some of my observations that, in my experiences that they probably meet quality women with with your actual matching social circles, right?
Yes, the two best relationships I would say that I've been in, both of those people were friends of friends, and they're kind of almost pre-vetted to a degree, and also you're gonna, before you even begin, you're gonna have things in common.
This is kind of random, but I was going to ask, does anyone think that Julian Assange's wife, no, not Julian Assange, Assad's wife is hot? Bashar al-Assad's wife is hot.
Yeah, she's hot. I saw the meme today.
Just look at Will's wife. I think she's really hot.
Do
Andrew
you think he's do you think he's a physically attractive man?
Andrew Tate.
He's like 6'2" and a doctor, so he probably is attractive.
That's
he's like what Disney type of I don't know.
Well, did you see what?
He's a physically attractive man.
Did you see what Andrew Tate put out? Because his wife, Bashar Assad's wife, filed for divorce and is moving to London. And so he's pointing out that when your circumstances change and everything goes negative, your woman is going to dump your ass.
100%. As soon as the chips are down, right, the majority of divorces are instigated by women. And the majority of the time, it's due to finances, right? Very rarely when you're at the top of your game. Look, Jones also I thought was a really interesting anecdote. I've heard this from a number of different fighters who were talking about their fight camps prior to the UFC. And I've heard it from at least two of them. I can't remember, but I remember being like, shit, I've heard that guy say that, or another guy said that before. And the recurring theme was that the women in their lives, their girlfriends, their wives, whatever, that they could just it's just innately part of the female condition that they can just sense weakness, and almost both of them said at the lowest point of their camps, that's when the fucking bitches start working with them, right? Because they can sense weakness, and they're like just programmed to like shit test you, right? Because you're doing a fight camp, you're cutting weight, you're getting the shit knocked out of you. It's exhausting, right? You know, you're preparing for the fight of your fucking life, and the last thing you need is this person who's meant to be your like partner in this journey to be like up in your face giving you shit, right? So it's like demoralizing for them or whatever. That's why they're talking about it. But they both women are very sensitive to your displays of strength or weakness, and in those moments, these guys who can be pretty wealthy, but they're just programmed deeply and neatly. It's a primal sense when they feel and see them being weak because they're at their lowest of these like 8, 10, 12-week camps, and they fucking just start arguing with them, right? Because they just sense the weakness.
Did you see that movie with not Adrian Dimon, Matt Damon, where he plays like a king and his wife, he goes out on a conquest, he comes back and his wife was raped by another royal. So he battles him to the death. He wins and he wins his wife back. I think it's a true story, but when you look at it, you're like, I mean, because it's Matt Damon, you're also kind of laughing. You're like, this is so beta cuck, you know, that like, I mean, the woman didn't, you know, give it up. She kind of.
When countries get taken over and invaded by new armies, right? Women embrace their captors, right? The men will get slaughtered, their bloodlines end. That's why men will fight to the death. The women will open their legs because their bloodlines will continue and they'll be fine, right? If they comply. But the men will get slaughtered, right? This is primarily, I'd say, by men. Obviously, we're physically stronger, but we go to war. So the women, yeah, they've been programmed, right? Just by evolution.
Yeah, conditioned, really.
So I would say certain women, right? Like you also have cases like I actually looked into this psychologically. Like you have women who have rape fantasies, and I think it kind of stems from this, you know.
Well, you're getting into, dude. There is a school of thought. I'm not saying
I was in the rabbit hole. Yeah.
There's a school of thought that even a lot of rape victims orgasm when they're being raped. But,
well, I mean,
I don't know if there's any truth in that.
A woman who's having a woman who's having a rape fantasy is really just having a sex fantasy. I mean, but they're, you know, spicing it up in their mind by pretending and using fear in addition.
You can't be excited.
But it's also a power play here. Like that's another thing is that I think we're neglecting.
Okay, so what was the fastest selling book that like sold Harry Potter? 50 Shades of Grey. Yeah, right. Women want to be taken off by some handsome, rich billionaire with incredibly high status, an incredible amount of resources. So it's exciting, and they will let them do whatever they want. But if you're just the chump that they went to high school with, right, or whatever, maybe she doesn't even suck your dick, right? But you better believe that, you know, fucking alpha chat billionaire, the first thing she's gonna do is get down on her knees.
Like, yeah, women want to tame you in a way, right? That's another thing. I think another like the perspective we haven't talked about, which is like, you know, like women have always engaged this in social in a social way to like you know, like you said earlier, right? Trying to shit test you, right? This is all like a social pressure, kind of social like cohesion, like social like engineering us, right? If men are like mentally like programming women and, you know, like all of these things, women are actually, you know, social like engineering a lot of things in societies, right? Because women are much more agreeable, they're much more social, right? If you look at evolution biology, like women and men, they were like, you know, they had different roles, right? Men went out to hunt and women just, you know, they just stayed around at the back and just collected stuff. So they kind of be more,
they're a nurturing family role, supporting one.
Yeah, but the way they compete with each other for resources is actually using language and using like tricks.
Character assassination. And rumor and gossip and where men go and fight it out. It's the way they've evolved.
Isn't it kind of weird that like Assad's wife only left after his empire, like
no,
the minute or something? Because like there were times when he killed like a bunch of people
but that's not when she decided to leave. After he had to leave, that's
It's for her safety.
Exactly.
It's for her safety.
You know, look, I would say, now, don't get me wrong, maybe if this is Derek Chauvin, it might be a little bit different, but even then, maybe his wife just divorced him to be like, so the kids are okay and they don't get attacked. So it's like a strategic decision for the safety of the family. And maybe they're still keeping contact and maybe they still consider each other husband and wife, right? But for their own safety.
Look at Trump. It's the same thing. Melania. Yeah. She, like, I was seeing reports 3 years ago, she wants to divorce him. Right?
Yeah, but bro, that's just rumor. Like, you don't know that. That's just rumor.
Yeah, but like, I don't know. Like, without smoke, there's no, like, without fire, there's smoke. Like, I'm just trying to say maybe there's a, like, failing marriage there. But
I wouldn't trust the media. They're still happening.
yeah, but my point is that, you know, like, the reason why she's staying behind is for the kid, Barrett, to grow up and, you know, kind of, like, make sure there's money.
He'll be okay. He's like 18 now or something, right? He's so if he's not, he's like 17. But
He's going to university right now.
But the difference is with Assad, right, or someone like Derek Chauvin. Do we all know who Derek Chauvin is?
Yeah.
Yes, he's the cop that put the knee on.
He's like a worst example ever.
Did you see they're gonna exhume the body and test his heart? They're gonna test.
Yes.
Yeah, they're gonna test the heart. Yeah.
Anybody
This is too extreme stuff. Like, you're preparing.
That's the point. That's kind of the point. It works at all ends of the spectrum. Or is it for the safety of the family and the children? Like, do you know what the Nazis did, right? When they knew that they were, you know, going to be defeated, right? Like, Joseph Goebbels killed all of his children, right? Like, because they wouldn't want them to be abused and by others. So this is not an uncommon thing where, you know, people think deeply about what is the better outcome for their children. Now, in that case, they believe that killing themselves and the whole family was the least amount of suffering that they would face if they did it themselves than at the hands of others and the abuse and rape and what else may go on. But in Derek Chauvin's case, maybe the BLM would be coming after his kids, right? Maybe they'd be going after his wife. Maybe they're going after the rest of his family. But if they publicly announce that they're divorcing, maybe then they just leave them alone. Maybe Assad's wife, for her own safety and the children's safety in the short term, say that they're divorcing. We don't know if they actually divorced. We don't know if they actually divorced. They're just not spending time together.
Yeah, this is just a legal tactic, strategic legal move. It's not, doesn't mean that they had a falling out. Like Connor, are you concerned that their romantic love relationship has collapsed and imploded like the country?
I'm not sure, honestly. I was just kind of fascinated by it.
What I would say is, let's say it is strategic. Let's say we're doing it for the betterment of the family and blah, blah, blah. If he leaves her alone too long in London, you know, some other chad's going to move in and she may actually, you know.
Well, what about the money? Because he's going to probably get brought up by ICG, have civil lawsuits. And, you know, by separating, she can get the assets and face no legal consequences and deny any culpability or involvement in the attacks that he supposedly did, you know, with the gas or whatever.
I know that he owns property in Russia, so it might be hard to kind of get money from the property. I'm not sure, though.
Yeah, but you got to look, all the assets.
He's totally safe in Russia, though.
The point that I was making is, although they may be, let's assume for a moment that they're doing it for strategic purposes and it's not legitimate. She's not actually divorcing him per se. I'm saying that even if it was a decision that was made in good faith between them, if he leaves her alone too long, she will need the attention of someone else and end up perhaps it actually becomes self-fulfilling and she does actually want to divorce him because she finds someone else in London.
Well, my point is that all the assets in Syria are going to get, you know, probably, I don't know, because
they're gone. They're gone. There's no assets in Syria. They're gone.
No, I know, but the ruling powers that are controlling the proxy forces in Syria, you know, there's always a lawyer even tied to that shit, because in Saudi Arabia, you know, they're sitting there probably doing an inventory of all the assets in the country at this point, because they have IMF and World Bank loans. I mean, there's a lot of high level shit that's going to get sorted out.
Did they account for Saddam's gold when they invaded, or did they just fucking take it?
They took it and brought it back to the U.S. Treasury, I believe.
That's right. Do you know what's hilarious as well? There was a tank. There's a YouTuber that restores tanks, and one of these tanks was in Iraq, and he sold the tank without restoring it to someone else because he had so much on his plate, so many other projects. And he sold the tank to someone else for, I don't know, 50 grand or something. And when the guy who ended up buying it, the new buyer, when he went to restore it, they opened the fuel tanks and they found gold bars, like worth millions.
Wow.
Imagine sitting on millions and letting it go for 50 grand.
Yeah, I heard that in Saddam's dog kennels, like he had, I think, 500 million in cash just sitting in dog houses.
I know, but think about that. Some Marines or some soldiers, right, thought, fuck, we're gonna stash these gold bars in the fuel tanks, and when we get back, we're gonna get them, and they never got them. Like they were smuggled back in. Like the soldiers did that. They dropped them in the fuel tanks of the tank so that they could get them later. That's the only way. Like
500
maybe
it's not that much money. That's not that much money.
No, I know it's not a lot, but that was just one stash.
That's right.
It was a stash house.
Have you never seen the photos of the dump trucks? It's like a fucking dump truck, and the gold bars are just stacked.
That goes to.
There's another photo where they're just thrown in. They're not even stacked. They're just it's like rubble, but they're not. It's gold bars.
How do you view like dead assets like that and dead cash just sitting in the banking industrial complex that will never be spent, but it should be? I mean, I don't believe in wealth redistribution and all these communists. It's the first thing they talk about, but there's so much dead capital just sitting there that could be so useful for productive purposes or even just for living standards.
The problem with redistribution is you can only do it once, right? Once the money's been redistributed, then it's gone.
I know, but the point is that, maybe you could do like an expiration clock. It's got to be spent. Like if they go digital currency and they do these stimuluses, and they pass out gift cards or whatever, and if you don't spend it by such and such date, your card expires. Like that would be a way to spike the economy. So David, this is a relationship room. When was the last time you were in a fruitful relationship with a beautiful young woman that you were in love with? With all due respect, I like to reserve the balance of my time.
Reserve it.
David, you don't think that's funny? I mean, I'm trying to make a joke here.
Dude, he's currently in a relationship with a man. What are you talking about? He's not into women.
There's a lot of things I define as funny, and unfortunately, that is not one of them. With all due respect.
With all due respect.
Well, that's his prerogative.
With all due respect. I mean, love making. See, this is the thing about, Indian men is that, I don't know, love and having sex and is just like very random. Friday night, Saturday night, the booze is out, people are mingling, and events happen. And sometimes it's not really even for your own effort. I mean, I've had girls come up to me. One girl came up to me. She's like, "You look sad." She's like, "Come back to my place." I was like, "Wow, okay."
She pity fuck?
It was a pity fuck. I was like, "Wow, this is like a miracle. Maybe I should come to the bar sad every time."
Do you know what's hilarious, actually? The girl from that story, don't get me wrong, I showed a bit of interest, but like she 100% came back later that night after I'd ignored her. I know, maybe she considered that a tactic. Maybe she saw me flirting with other girls and get jealous because I spoke to her first in the night. But she basically, like, she came home with me. Like, it was quite unplanned, actually. And then later she told me the next morning, which was also, I felt bad, that the first thing she asked me when we woke up, I remember her name, which I did. And then she told me actually that she had a boyfriend. I was like, then I felt pretty bad actually.
Why would you feel
What do
bad?
you think you made her to sleep with you? Like what reason do you think?
Say that again?
Why do you think she slept with you even she had a boyfriend? Like,
I don't know. Maybe they were arguing. She went on vacation. I don't fucking know. Maybe she's just a whore. I don't know. Or maybe this. I think. This
but obviously,
when women have been with someone, I don't know these things about her specifically, but what I recognize enough pattern. Enough times is like, for example, say a woman's been with a guy a long time. Maybe she's been with him since high school or whatever, right? Like then she will like when she's looking to get out, right? Because she wants to like maybe explore the wider world before maybe committing, right?
Yeah.
Then they'll wander a bit like this, right? They'll want to like see what it would be like with someone else. I don't know the circumstances, so I would just be making it up. There were some other things that ended up happening in this story. I didn't ask her, but well, why did you fuck me? It's like,
I mean, Daniel, don't discount the fact that women and men want an orgasm. It's like a heroin dose. I mean, it's a huge release. And to think that a woman, even though she has a boyfriend, to think that she doesn't want to come and get that orgasm, I mean, that's the thing. It's like,
maybe she's just in need. Dude, I've been with a girl and she literally told me her boyfriend never made her orgasm once. Right? I was like, what? Like, and I don't know. I don't have a problem with these things. So, you know.
yeah, but T-Robs, I mean, all communication is hypnosis. When a woman even says that, it's not like something to even drop your jaw. You're just like, yeah, oh, that's too bad.
No, I didn't visibly react to it. I was sitting there thinking like myself, what a simp or whatever, you know, like whatever the word was at the time was. But it was like, what a loser. Like, oh my god, you can't even make this like fucking. Was she the hottest girl? No, but she had a banging body. Like, it was unbelievable. I could not believe. In fact, I had serious lust for that girl. I could not believe.
The one that licked your arsehole?
No. This was like when I was like 22 or something. This was a long time ago. It's the only girl I've ever slept with who was older than me. She was 23. She's a year older.
Wow.
I've never slept with someone besides that older than me. No, she was being 100% serious. Like it. I don't know. Bro, she told me, "Oh my god, this is the most horrific fucking sex story I've ever heard in my life." Do you know what? This is what it's referred. I didn't even know it was referred to this. I didn't even know how to name. But if I was to say, do you know what a banjo string is? And do you know what that is?
Like a labia or something?
It's the piece of tissue which, like, underneath the tip of the penis, which connects the foreskin to your actual dick, right?
Oh.
And she told me, oh my god, that like this is how unaroused she was by this guy, right? She told me that whenever he was going at it, blah blah blah, right? She's sitting there, fucking biting her fingernails, probably by the sounds of it, right? Not interested. In other words, dry. And all of a sudden it got like she noticed it got very wet, and she thought he came or whatever. But what had actually happened is that he was so drunk and whatever going at it, and it was so dry that he broke his banjo string and started pissing out blood everywhere, and they had to go to like the emergency room. When like I just mentally blocked out the rest of the story about whatever it got reconnected or what. But he like ripped the fucking tissue oh Jesus Christ, just thinking about it makes me but yeah, that's how bad the sex was. I've never heard of that in my life, ever. And if I hadn't have heard it from her, I wouldn't. Keep in mind, this is someone I've had sex with successfully, right? So I wouldn't have believed it, you know. But
how do you think he got her? Like, if is he so?
They went to high school. They were just okay. Not a big pool of options or whatever. That was a weird one for me because there you go. Adrian's recording was all FYI, but I was working like part-time somewhere, let's just say, and I was working in a different role than her, but we worked in the same place. Now, I knew that this girl had a boyfriend, and when I started working there, I also had a girlfriend, but I ended up breaking up with my girlfriend. I broke up with her, and then that kind of became known, and this girl then started, showing a little bit more attention to me, but I didn't really notice because we talked sort of regularly, and we gently flirted a little bit or whatever, but nothing what I considered serious, and whatever. I was all in at that point to my girlfriend. So anyhow, she basically pursued me on a staff night out, and let's just say we took the long walk home through the park and other ways and did certain things in the dark corners that adults do. So I knew that she had a boyfriend, so it didn't really sit well with me, but I was drunk, and a girl's like, who's hot and I have strong lust feelings for is laying it on you, I'm not gonna say no. Especially when I'm newly single. But the thing that really sucked about that is later I knew that she had a boyfriend, but I did not know what she knew, which is that I actually knew her boyfriend. It was a guy that I'd known, and I knew he had a girlfriend, but I'd never known who his girlfriend was. And it turned out to be this girl. So, I know the guy in that story, basically. And, just messy.
Listen to this. I was seeing this Polish chick, and she was telling me that she was dating her best friend's boyfriend, and her friend came down with cancer because of all the stress that was sitting in the subconscious, knowing that her boyfriend was cheating on her. So I was like, do you realize your relationship with your best friend's boyfriend is probably the reason why your friend came down with cancer?
What's the craziest thing I think about the thing I was just saying though, right? That girl, so I rejected that girl in a way because I didn't want to be the reason. I'm very sensitive to this sort of thing for some reason. Sensitive or something, acutely aware that I didn't want to be considered a homewrecker, and I basically had to distance myself from this girl. She even when I changed job, she even approached me one day because there was a somewhat public setting with a friend, and clearly she was trying to rekindle it with myself, and I kind of again somewhat openly rejected her because she hadn't made a clean break from her boyfriend. She wanted to run from this guy straight into my arms type thing. And anyhow, needless to say, the saddest bit of this all is she's now married to that guy and has 2 kids and is probably miserable and has terrible sex life.
Yeah, but you don't know that. Maybe she's happily married.
I do know that. I literally do know that. That's the guy that broke his banjo string.
Jesus.
That's the guy who, so she married that guy at the end. Oh my God. So, I saw them in a store. Keep in mind, I kind of knew this guy because we used to play a certain thing. Let's pretend it's a sport. And so I kind of knew him independently, and I knew he had a girlfriend, but I never met her. I didn't know later that I'd start this job, and this girl that worked there that I knew had a boyfriend, and the 2 of them were connected. Right? I didn't know that. I've seen him since, and her, husband and wife, in a store, and I was like, oh, hey, and she just kind of squirrely walked past, to continue shopping, and then I was chatting to him, and it was so weird, knowing I fucked your wife.
Yeah, but you didn't fuck her in the grocery store in front of him, so it's just a memory.
No, but she just had, she didn't even acknowledge basically means just walking past. It was like, that means I'm still in her head. That's what that means. And that means, yeah.
You're not in her fucking head, dude.
That's right. That means I'm not dead to her. Dude.
What is that to get? Does that get your dopamine feedback loop raised? I mean, like.
Damn right, though. Damn right. That means, dude, I imprinted on that girl. That fucking bone of that girl. A piece of that girl is mine forever, right? She might be, kissing that fucking guy, but then sometimes she's thinking of me.
See, that's your dopamine. It's just not true.
I love, dude. I match people. Dude, I match like a 22-year-old the other day on there. I don't even message them or whatever. I just do it because I'm like, it's like, yeah, it's a fucking like confidence boost. Like, yeah, still got it. You know, like.
That's pathetic. Why don't you talk to them?
What the fuck am I gonna say to some 19, 21, 22?
You say, hey, what are you doing Friday, Saturday night? Let's go get dinner.
Do you know what? There was one. No, but this has become like a shit, right? And I swear to God, this one girl, I nearly broke. I was like, she was super cute, and she just said to me, I really kind of like. It's more of a girl line, but I still really liked it. And she messaged me first, right? Because I don't message, but she did actually message, and she said, "Now that I've arrived, what are your other two wishes?" And I was like, "Oh, that's like it." I was like, "It's enough. It's flirty."
That's a fucking great line.
I liked it. I really liked it. I was like, damn. I was like, if she was 19, I was like, this is a troll. I was like, you're too cute and like too confident to be like doing this. But I like that.
So wait, did you follow up with her?
Like, I fucking hate. Oh, I'll remember that girl forever for that line. No. I hate pickup lines, bro. But that was smooth. I liked it. It works more for women though. Like if you were to say as a guy, now that I've arrived, what are your two other wishes? You know, like that's
a great line, yeah.
I know, but for a woman, it's an amazing line.
I'm going to use that next Friday. I'm going to say, excuse me, can I ask you a question? Because, a lot of times I'll go up to girls and I'll just be like, excuse me. And then her friends will say, we're not interested. So...
The fridge always has to guard the food. You know what I mean?
But I find if you're just polite and you say, excuse me, can I ask you a question? No one will reject that because you followed all the protocols of politeness. No, it's not. It's socially, they can't reject that in a public setting. You can't reject someone saying, excuse me.
I reject that all the time. People do in a room be like, can I just sit in a room? But I'm not normal. You see, the rest of them are NPCs, and Adrian, this might be the best compliment I've ever given you. But you too, you're either an incredibly high-level NPC. See, sometimes there are these NPCs that are aware they're an NPC, and they're fucking dangerous to hang around with. But it's very rare to meet another user. Like it's like Tron, like the users versus the programs, right? Everyone else is a fucking program, right? And to meet someone in the system, it's like the Matrix. Like, oh, you're out of the Matrix. You're back in, right? And you're one of us. What the fuck was I gonna say? What were you just asking? What were you just talking about? No, but I mentioned NBC.
You're trying to give him a compliment.
Yeah, you're not a fucking NBC. No.